Nation, I'm Sam here again with Barnaby Books, and today I'm going to film a video that I actually, quite honestly, have been dreading filming. Though I'm a mood reader, I do enjoy filming TBRs because they help me to feel organized. Wrap-ups, on the other hand, I feel kind of anxiety or dread about them because it's stuff that I've already done, so it's stuff in the past, and it's not really helping me to be organized or prepare for the future. That being said, I wanted to try something kind of different. I don't know if you guys will like it, but if you do, definitely let me know. So basically what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna show you all the books I read, so you will get to see them all. I'm also gonna link my Goodreads down below, so you can friend or follow me there so you can see a little bit more about what I thought about each one, star rating, a short synopsis, things like that. I don't normally do a full detailed review on Goodreads, but I do typically put a few sentences or a few paragraphs about how I felt about the book. Anyway, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you all the books, and then I'm going to pick a few to highlight, and then the ones that I highlight I'm going to talk a little bit more about. This is November, December, and January will be the first edition of the highlight wrap-up. I'm going to go ahead and link my top videos below from 2017 because some of these that aren't being featured today were in those videos and I talk about them a little bit more. So if you are interested, I'll link those so you can check those out. I'm going to go backwards this time. Maybe next time I'll go forwards or do it by star rating, or I'm still kind of working it out, see what works best. This is Thorn by Intisar Khanani. This is a retelling of the fairy tale The Goose Girl, and I actually really enjoyed this one. I gave this one a 4 stars. If you like retellings and you like more unique retellings. Next was Descender Volume 1, 10 stars. This is Jeff Lemire and Dustin Wen. I really liked this. This is a series. This is sci-fi. This is lots of emotion. I gave this one 4 stars. Next, this is a book I borrowed and I've already returned it to its owner. This was A Dog Named Christmas, and this is by Greg Kincaid. I enjoyed it, gave it 4 stars. It was a quick, heartwarming Christmas read. Next, Frozen Beauty. This is from my Doctor Who fairy tale collections. I've mentioned these a few times before. I'm slowly working my way through all the fairy tales. They run about 28 to 42 pages, quick reads, and they're a lot of fun. This one I gave 3 stars to. I really like the premise of this one, but I wanted a little bit more. Next is Thorn by Avery Hastings. I read the first one a while back called Feuds, and this is the second one in that duology. This feels almost to me, and it's not listed this way anywhere I could find, but since I've been in the retelling mood, I thought I would mention it. It kind of feels like a Romeo and Juliet retelling because it's a forbidden love situation and they're young, and anyway, so I got those vibes from this. I gave both books 3 stars, but if you're looking for something fun, fast, and you're still okay with like the dystopian feel with a slight retelling edge, I say give it a try. Took me like no time to read. Highly enjoyable. Check it out. Okay, next, Shipwreck at the Bottom of the World. The Extraordinary True Story of Shackleton and the Endurance by Jennifer Armstrong. I've heard about this story before, and that's why my interest was so piqued when I saw it on Audible. Audible is the current subscription service that I'm using. I used to do a bookcase club. I usually treat myself to one of those at a time, and then I'll rotate it so I can get kind of different things in my collection. So I gave 4 stars to this one. It probably would have been a 5-star, but I'm an animal lover and there's some animal stuff in this one, so if you're an animal lover, I say go in tentatively, but I did enjoy it. If you like adventure stories, check it out. And the next one I'm going to talk about was Christmas at High Rising by Angela Thirkell. I gave this 3 stars. There were a couple stories in this I really liked. The rest of them were kind of for me. One I even felt insulting, but that's neither here nor there. I understand that it had a place for the time that it was written. This was just kind of an okay book for me. If you like Christmas and you like Angela Thirkell, I say maybe give this one a try. Next was another Angela Thirkell book. I highly enjoyed this one. I believe this is included in my Tops Fiction of 2017. I'll link that below. Though when I was kind of about her other one, this one I loved. It was absolutely what I was looking for in the time that I was looking for it. I love when books fit that criteria. It's warm, it's in a small English village. If you want Christmassy, warm, cozy, pick this up. Next, I have Holding Heaven by Jerry B. Jenkins. This I gave 5 stars to. This for me was like the story accompanied with the art. There's only a few full picture drawings or paintings in this, but they're just absolutely beautiful. So there's one there. This is about Joseph and Joseph's experience, and I found it really wonderful. I think if you're interested in Christianity, seeing it from a different point of view, or if you're a Christian yourself and you want to read something around the holidays that fits with your faith, I say definitely pick this up. Also, really quick read. Like, make yourself a cup of tea, grab a cozy blanket, you'll finish it up within the hour probably. Next, I don't typically read books like this, but I was looking for Christmas reads this year, and this one had almost all the buzzwords I look for. This is Trisha Ashley's A Winter's Tale. This had things like winter, village, mansion, crumbling. Right. I picked this up. I did enjoy this. I ended up giving it 4 stars. It's kind of like chick lit. I hate to put something in that category, but there was a romance involved. It wasn't heavy in the romance. It was more about her individual journey and coming home. But I say, if you like Christmas, if you like the occasional romance, if you enjoy books about the individual journey, give this a try. Next, one of my favorite books of last year. I loved this book, One Fine Day by Molly Panter Downs, and it's so sad because this is the only novel she actually wrote. She did write some other kind of nonfiction things during the war and I think post-war, and Persephone has republished those. So Persephone Books, I believe, is based out of London, England. They make beautiful books. I'll show my collection one day. Anyway, this is one of the Virago Modern Classics with the apple. I love those. This is my favorite one I've read so far. So this was basically, well, here in America we would call them like an upper middle class, but I know the class system or the class specifications are different in Britain, so I don't want to say it incorrectly, but this is about a family, mother, a father, and a daughter after the war, and it is just how they handle life and how the change of the nation has affected the individual family unit, and it was absolutely beautiful. So if you like modern classics, if you like World War II, this is really post World War II. If you like slow stories about a family, this took place in one day and was just beautiful. I gave this 5 stars. Next, I picked this up for my daughter's room. This is Piglet Does a Very Grand Thing by A.A. Milne, and this is, of course, a Winnie the Pooh book. This was, let's see, with decorations by E.H. Shepard, original and unabridged. And this is just such a really cute story. It's Pooh and Piglet and 100 Acre Wood, and yeah, if you like Winnie the Pooh or you have a small person in your life, I suggest that you share this with them. I gave this 4 stars. The next 2 books were also on my top favorites of the year. First one I'm just going to mention briefly is The Valiant by Lesley Livingston. I'm so excited. I just ordered the second one in this series, I believe. I think there's going to be more than 2 books. But anyway, this was so much fun. It's about a female gladiator, and there is actually new historical information that makes that possible. But this was wonderful. If you like empowered females, if you like anything set in like the Roman type setting, I say check this out. I gave this 4 stars. Next, I gave this 5 stars. Probably my favorite YA of last year is My Lady Jane. This is by the Lady Janies, who are Cynthia Hand, Brody Ashton, and Jody Meadows. This is so much fun. It's like a historical retelling of the Lady Jane Grey. If you know anything about that, you know that did not go well. This makes it go better. Check this out. It's lots of fun. It's amazing. If you like YA, if you like royalty, if you like fantasy, give it a whirl. Next up, BlackSouls. This is by Nicole Castroman, and this is the second book in the Black Hearts series, I think. I gave this 4 stars. I read the first one, enjoyed the first one. I love pirates, though I will warn you, the first one is less pirates, more origin story. This is more pirates, less origin story. Lots of fun, lots of great characters. I love her writing style. If you're at all interested in the tale of Blackbeard, give it a try. This is The Bird and the Sword by Amy Harmon. I gave this 4 stars. I believe this is included as an honorable mention in my best of. I'll link it down below. This is a really fun, what I find to be a unique fantasy tale. I love Amy Harmon's writing style. If you're at all interested in new adult and young adult, if you're interested in YA or fantasy, there's some interesting powers in this book, and the villain was pretty crazy, so check it out. This is The Telling, and this is by Alexandra Sirowy. And I don't typically read a lot of thriller type books. I think I may have used this for the readathon, but I did enjoy it. I gave it 4 stars. It was really intense. If you're looking for a YA thriller, I say give it a try. It was an easy, quick read. Okay, now on the ones I wanted to highlight and talk about a little bit more. I absolutely love anything to do with mermaids. Ever since I was a little girl, I've been fascinated with the ocean. My father, when I was a baby, was a fisherman up in New England. I lived on the river. I was always around water. I'm intrigued by water. I'm pretty sure I could swim before I could walk. This one is Lorelei, and this is by Laura Dockrell. And there were some new covers recently released. They released a second book in this series, and they did a new cover release. But this is I think it's the original cover. I think it's really pretty. This is a mermaid tale. It's not really a retelling, but it does talk about like the mythology behind mermaids. I really loved the cast of characters. For me, sometimes a book can be made just as easily by the main character as it can by the side characters, and the side characters in this book are just so much fun. They're so intriguing. I want to see a movie. I want to see them cast. Their personalities were so vibrant, they jumped off the page at me. If you enjoy a good cast of side characters, I say definitely give this one a try. If you love mermaids, I say definitely give this one a try. It was a fun ride. I gave this one 4 stars. And it says, an extraordinary mermaid in an ordinary town. And isn't that where the best things always seem to happen? The next one I wanted to highlight, again, told you, love mermaids, is also a mermaid book, Waking Storms by Sarah Porter. This is from the Lost Voices trilogy. I gave this one 3 stars, and I gave the first one 3 stars, but I have to say for me, this was a stronger 3 stars. To me, second books can really be hit or miss. I have a really hard time getting through series. First of all, I'll pick up the first book, I'll be like, yay, a new world, and then I get distracted, and then who knows. But this, actually, I really enjoyed the second book. I'm a big fan of the journey for the character, and in this one, the main character really goes on both a mental, emotional, and physical journey. I found it really interesting. It's a much darker, much grittier mermaid retelling. The whole series as a whole does touch on some trigger issues, so if you're concerned about anything relating to types of abuse, I would say do a little bit of research before picking these up. But if you can stomach it, I think that for me, the second book was worth it. The next one I wanted to highlight in this video today was A Pearl Among Princes, and that's by Colleen Murtaugh Paramore. This is more of a middle grade. I gave this 4 stars, but I think if there are any younger YA readers in your home, I might suggest this. It's a great little book, and I thought that the scenery and the main character were definitely true to life. And though as an older reader, I could definitely guess parts of the ending, I still enjoyed the ride to get there, and that's not always the case with books. Sometimes if you kind of figure out what's going to happen, you don't really enjoy reading the rest of the book, but I did really enjoy this. I found the writing style also to be really smooth and descriptive. It's just an easy, fun read. There's definitely some fun moments in this. There's some girl power in here. It reminds me a little bit of like a kind of a Disney story that where, you know, you're gonna get that happy ending, but it's still fun to watch along. So I did enjoy this. Next, Vengeance Road. I also gave this 4 stars. This is by Aaron Bowman, and I've had this book for so long because of the cover. It pulled me in, it sucked me in. I mean, it's gorgeous. And I believe the sequel came out last year, I want to say in 2017. I felt that a lot of research went into keeping some historical accuracy within this YA. It's basically a YA Western adventure tale. There are some details about folklore that I found really interesting. There's also details about a mine in here and kind of information about how the mining went back then and things like that. And I thought that was really interesting as well. I found the pacing in this to be really good. I was always intrigued, wanting to know what was going to happen. There were many scenes with lots of action. It wasn't just like build up to one particular point. I found in particular, because I've been to Phoenix myself, I found that the scenes that were written there were really detailed and descriptive and quite beautiful. I really enjoyed this one. I don't read a lot of Westerns as most people that read YA because that's just kind of a setting and that the YA community is starting to venture into, but I did really enjoy this one. I thought it was action-packed. I thought that there was some good character development in this, and I really enjoyed it, and I plan on continuing with this series. This next one was the first book I read in January of 2018. This was a 5-star. This is by Elizabeth Taylor, Mrs. Palfrey at the Claremont. This is going to be on my top books of the year, no doubt in my mind. I loved this book. It was exactly what I needed to read when I read it. There's also a movie adaptation that was made about this, but it's harder to get a hold of, so that's definitely something I want to check out. I feel like I may have found a new favorite author. It was beautiful yet subtle in all the right places. I felt like there was respect given when respect needed to be given, and it pushed in certain points that I thought it should. This book, I don't get emotional a lot when reading books, and if I do, I always know it's coming, so I'll kind of like make myself think of something else, so I won't try to get too emotional. But this one was like a ninja. I would be reading along and and not even notice that I was being brought to tears while I was reading. So I thought that was really powerful, that I didn't even know how emotionally impactful this book was on me. I also too in my life has spent a lot of time with the older community. I've always found to me that though I have a hard time in nursing homes, older people tend to have stories that I take a lot away from. They're very knowledgeable. They've lived through times that someone my age can't even comprehend. The world, the country, everything was so different back then, and not that we don't have our challenges now today, but their challenges were so different, and it's just interesting hearing their point of view and how they dealt with things back then, such as World War II, Vietnam, having a huge depression here in America. It just really fascinates me, and this book really talks about that, and it talks about it from the other point of view of not the younger person that visits, but from the older person's point of view, and you know, loss of spouses and loneliness and what it means to really end up being alone. And I know as humans that's kind of something most of us fear. Though I'm not a hugely social person, I do enjoy social contact, and I do enjoy being a married person, and so thinking further in life and how that all breaks down and how much your life will change, this was just so impactful. I highly recommend it if any of that sounds at all interesting to you. The final book I want to highlight today is one of the first historical fiction I read in 2018. This is called Years of Wonders, a novel of the plague, and this is by Geraldine Brooks. I've been meaning to read one of her books for a really long time. From the historical fiction community, I've always heard great things about her. This book was quality. It is not an easy read. It is what it says it's about. It is a year about the plague, not happy book. But if you can stomach that, if you can get through it, I think it's a really worthwhile read. It shows what people went through. It shows what people do in times of sacrifice. It shows what people do in times of conflict. It shows how differently people react when the chips really fall. I highly recommend this. I find it a really interesting study on human nature. It makes you think, like you think you know how you would behave, but the tests that the people are put through in this novel is like we can't comprehend nowadays. So it makes you wonder, you know, which of these character archetypes would you fall into? You'd like to think you know which one it would be, but just the terror and the fear and the anger and the sadness and all the emotions that these people had to go through in here was just amazing. If you enjoy historical fiction, if you can get through grittier and darker topics, I highly recommend. I gave this one 4 stars. The only thing I will say about this one is, for me, the ending was a little jarring. Like, I felt like we were kind of going along and we felt like we knew where the story was going, and then it just kind of fit somewhere else. And for me, it wasn't a bad ending, but it's just not really what I expected. So that was my new highlight wrap-up style. If you like this style of wrap-up, if you think maybe it would be better just to do 2 months at a time, or if you like the more traditional style, let me know. For me, monthly wrap-ups weren't really working. They made me kind of stressed out, so I wanted to try something different, kind of feel it out and see what my subscribers thought about it. So if you have any suggestions, comments, go ahead and leave them down below. I do hope that you enjoyed what you had to see here today. You got to see quite a few books, so I hope that you enjoyed it, and I just want to thank you for being here with me today. If you've made it till the end, congratulations. I'll leave my Goodreads and Twitter down below. Feel free to friend or follow me. Farewell for now. Bye-bye.